Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Let's welcome our first new Ely today. We have a mystery man. Is it okay to assume that you are a man indeed? Who is this mysterious person? Let's let him speak.
Yes, I am transitioning, but to a new address, not gender.
And it would appear that you're a chef.
I am a famous and fabulous chef, actually.
Okay, were you on TV? I think I recognize your voice. Maybe you were on The Masked Singer with a slightly fancier mask.
No, I was on TV, and maybe you've seen me in the ads pushing the refund. You should try it. Your brain is as smart as mine.
Oh, of course, you're Elton Brown.
Yes, Elton. That's with an A, not with an E like you're Elton John or Brown.
Ugh. Wow, so you've given up bright lights and the fast lane to slow down under Ely's dark skies.
Clever girl. And yes, I have moved to the end of the road, but it's not the end of my road.
Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed you were now retired.
Heck no, I'm still cooking with gas. Not here. I would have moved here years ago, but I kept hearing there were no good paying jobs. But then I heard there were openings for people to run restaurants, so here.
Wow, that's wonderful news. I assume you have a business plan?
I sure do. First, I'm going to open a big, beautiful supper club here down the road on Miners Lake. I predict that my reputation will attract so many customers that Pioneer Road will need to become a divided highway. Yep. And I will give back to the community, by the way, by taking over all the cooking classes at the folk school. I know my Slovenian wing-nut panika will be a big hit.
I confess I've never watched Cooking with Elton Brown. What are your specialties?
Thanks for asking. I make the absolute best red squirrel stir fry, washed down with bug juice spritzer. But you know, the studio never could provide me with enough of the main ingredients. This is another reason I moved here.
Interesting.
There'll be wild game night, by the way, which will feature my lemony loin of wicks lasagna.
Okay, I look forward to sampling that. I'm a huge fan of your blogs, however, not sure about the cooking at the moment. Will you be blogging here in Ely?
For sure. I'm a big blogger and podcaster. My new blogcast will be called Body Waters Confections, Concoctions, and Comestibles.
Wow, I just feel like I'm getting pushed out of a job here. That's a mouthful, Mr. Elton Brown. Elton, of course, excuse me. Yes, some of the locals might resent some of the big changes you're bringing in. Do you have a plan for winning them over?
Yeah, I don't want to anticipate problems or give away all my plans, but hint. I might buy a block of downtown buildings and tie them together to create another huge Ely called the Historic Ely Steak Theater. Oh, and I'm pretty sure I'll be building a zip line over Miners Lake so that the college kids can zip over to my Trezona Tavern. Yeah, both the Steak Theater and the Trezona Tavern will be featuring drag shows every weekend. And talk about good paying jobs, Business Squire. You could soon be wealthy by impersonating a drag queen a couple nights a week.
I look forward to that. Mr. Brown, you take my breath away.
Well,
one final question. Given Ely's current hot real estate market, have you been able to find a place to live?
yes, but all I could find was this very room. Yeah, tell them to sell and let me renovate it and add a luge run down to my Shagawa steam and sauna business. I noticed that your Ely steam and sauna has no lake to jump into. And the rope tow will bring folks up to order libations from the deck over here I'm working on gel to drop their no shirts, no pants, no service, for my sauna customers. Tuesday group, of course, will have to move. But I'll have space for you folks in the Frizona Tavern before opening time, say 7 a.m. That's all, folks.
Wow, we're so lucky to have you, Elton.
Most of the people who are speaking, besides Alton Brown, I don't even know, really, except for Suzanne Madas. Suzanne's been here before, and but now she and Rod are really here. They bought a place, and she's the flautist for the Jumping Jehoshaphat's. So you might be hearing our band more often now that more than almost half the band lives up here now.
At least a couple of us in the band. Well, the first time I moved to Ely was in June of 1984. I was just finished an internship as a seminary student at Wesley Church in downtown Minneapolis, and I loved inner city urban ministry. So when the bishop asked, what kind of ministry do you want to be in? I said, inner city urban ministry. And the bishop's appointing the Methodist system. So my first appointment was Ely, Minnesota. So that's all a great story. But I love the wilderness, I love outdoors, and so it turned out to be a gift. Even though it wasn't 20 years later, I ended up back at Wesley Church. So eventually I got in a different setting. But I made lifelong contacts here and lasting friendships. So it's always been a second home to me. So the second time I moved here was 2 months ago with my husband, Rod. And so in between that, I don't know where to go from there. In between that, I served a church in Austin, Minnesota, started a nonprofit agency called Disability Awareness Ministries, and worked for inclusion in churches in Minnesota and engaging congregations of all faith and community advocacy. Then I went back to ministry and was in downtown Minneapolis at Wesley United Methodist Church, and became immersed in issues of poverty and homelessness and the need for addressing those situations in more tangible ways, and got involved in legislative advocacy and kinds of things. So then, let's see, where did it go? I went to church in Bloomington, Portland Avenue Church in Bloomington. And from there, I took a break from ministry. And in there, I became more intensely active with affordable housing, with Homes for All Coalition, and working with legislators and community groups to address issues to help fund some of the statewide initiatives to end homelessness and poverty. Then I went back to ministry again, into church ministry, and was at Living Spirit United Methodist Church in South Minneapolis, which is a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multicultural congregation. We were about, the church was located less than a mile from where George Floyd was murdered. And so we were immersed in all of those issues. And of course, the pandemic, and I was a Zoom pastor, which was not what I had hoped to be. But if you've ever watched the first time we did Zoom with our church, if you've ever watched the Saturday Night Live skit Zoom Church, well, look at it. We all had those kinds of experiences as clergy, but we got into it and we got used to it, and we actually stepped up to the plate, and it was ended up to be an interesting way. We had people join the congregation from Atlanta, Georgia, so it was really interesting. Here I am. I don't know what else. Originally I was a flute major in University of Minnesota. Then transitioned to music therapy and was a music therapist. Ended up being called to ministry. I know I'm jumping around here all the places. And then ended up, as I became a clergy, I found a group of musicians that ended up calling themselves the Jumpin' Jehoshaphat's, and that's how I ended up in that group. And here's how I met Elton. Do you remember how we met?
No.
Okay. I was just ordained. It was 1984. We were out afterwards enjoying a few libations, that's some clergy, and this guy sits down next to me and says, "Hi, I'm Elton Brown. I hear you're being appointed to Ely. How about if we do a pulpit exchange over Christmas? Because I know you want to go back to the cities, and I want to be up in Ely." So that's what we did. So that's how I met Elton.
Why do you want to be an Ely?
Why do I want to be in Ely? I love the wilderness. I love the outdoors. I love the spirit of this town. It's very unique. I met my husband. And in between them, I got married. I should probably say. I met him paddling down the St. Croix River. So we met through an outdoor adventure group called Minnesota Ropers. We're no longer part of that group, so they refer to us as dead ropers. But we now are in the inland sea kayakers. That's more of our passion is sea kayak. So I don't know. When I married my husband, he said whenever he retired, he wanted to retire to a small town. And I said, "Oh, I just place for you to retire to," and it worked. So we're here.
Sarah and Nick Dunham, who are here without their 3-year-old daughter. We look forward to hearing about you.
Well, good action when put this up here since we're playing.
We get it close to your nose.
How does that sound?
Nope.
No? We're just gonna pass it then. Pretty soon I won't even need the mic. Right here. Good afternoon. My name is Nick Dunham. This is my wife, Sarah Dunham.
Hello.
And we are missing our little 3.5-year-old daughter, Gianna. Gosh, I don't know.
What brought us to Ely?
Well, a lot of things, but before that, even, I guess, we both grew up down in the cities, in the northern suburbs. How's the mic? Is this better?
Yeah.
So we grew up down in the cities in the northern suburbs. Those of you that are from Ely might know my mother, Janet Burke, was her maiden name. Her name is Janet Dunham now. She was born and raised here, so were her parents, my grandpa Carl Burke and Dorothy Burke. And then my great-grandparents were the first ones that came. So my side of the family, we've always had a place up here on Eagle's Nest, even being raised down in the cities. And so I got to spend summer stomping around the lake and just living kind of like a wild child out there on the summer lawn, growing up and stuff. And then, Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of your family history or where you live?
Yeah, so I was more west suburbs, like Plymouth, Maple Grove, graduated from Osseo, went to St. Cloud State University. So, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, honey.
Public speaking. I gotta get more comfortable with this.
Yeah, and I went to the University of North Dakota, which is maybe one of the places in the West that rivals Ely for being super cold. It's just flat and a lot of wind. It was shortly after coming back from college that we started dating. 10, 11 years ago now.
Yep, and we just celebrated 7 years of marriage on New Year's Eve, this past New Year's Eve.
Yep. Yeah, marriage and honors for sure. But so when we started dating, I think even in my first year of dating, I brought Sarah up here and we used to do a trip fall and Basswood that first year. And so I started bringing Sarah up here and we started to fall in love with Ely and everything that the surrounding area has to offer. And, we kind of moved around a little bit down in the northern suburbs for 6-7 years. And, when COVID happened in 2020, where were you working at then?
So I was working at 3M in St. Paul. I was there for 10 years. And then COVID happened and we were living in a big, huge house with one little girl and just thought, life's changing, world's changing. Let's just take a leap of faith and downsize. We had a huge estate sale, sold all of our stuff, and we bought a place up here, Pattison. and just started small town living. So I am not familiar with small town living at all. I've grown up in huge suburbs, graduated with a class, both of us, of like 3,000, 4,000 people. So doing this was a huge leap of faith. But then I put my notice in at 3M, left the big corporate job, the big house, and here we are up in Ely and loving it.
Yeah, and I've always just been kind of self-employed, and so it was pretty easy for me to just kind of fit right in. If anybody ever wants to come talk about paddling or the Boundary Waters or camping or outdoors or anything else that you guys like to get into up here, I've got an office up potluck, but
Oh,
What do you do?
what do you do with it?
So what our current job is, I'm a banker at Wells Fargo in town.
and I'm a business broker, so.
You break businesses? We don't need you.
Unintentionally, but sometimes yes. So yeah, but all that to say, we've really enjoyed. Actually, it was January that marked our 2 years. So we've made it a couple years, and we're just happy as a couple of what. But.
Yeah, we jumped right in. We're pretty involved in the community. When we first moved here 2 years ago, I just had Gianna, that's our little girl, and quit my job and stayed at home with her. So really just dove right in, meeting new people through ECFE and church. We go to Ledge Rock, and I'm involved in Young Life and the Ely Events Committee. I also dance for Reflections with Molly Olson, and I coached the dance team last year with Desiree Graham for the high school. That's winter season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, huh? Yeah, if you ever go see the dance performances that Emma she's a shining star.
The newest committee I just joined was the American Legion. So just always jumping on boards and helping out, loving to volunteer
Why'd
however
you
I
join
can.
Why'd you join that?
Well, I love to volunteer, and also our grandparents served in military, so I thought we could get involved in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much adjusted now. Looking at staying here, we definitely, still get a taste of the suburbs when we visit family members or my parents, but it's always nice to come back up here, like traffic, just slow living, nice people, great community. It's been wonderful. So we're glad we took that leap of faith 2 years ago, and here we are.
And here we'll stay.
Nice job, tag team. Let's see, who can beat next? Oh, boy. Karen, let's do this. Reichenberger.
Great. We're gonna get the true answer.
Karen, I just think it's Reichenberger.
Whoa. Let's clap a lot.
Okay, I'm Karen Reichenberger. Yeah, okay. And I'm kind of new and kind of not. The kind of not part is because I've been coming up to this area since I was an infant. My grandma and grandpa had the first place on Eagles Nest Lake 3. And so my folks always came up weekends and vacations to stayed with grandma and grandpa. And then as a young adult, when my folks had inherited the place, I'd come up and help them out doing things. And then I got the place. And about that time, my husband was told that his leukemia was so bad that he had to retire from his emergency management job. It was too stressful for him. So I retired from my nursing administrator job, and we decided to go out south because his dream. That's a good, beautiful life, I followed him. And we did that for a number of years, almost 10 years, until I told him that I really don't see spending half of it. Oh, okay, because I always remember this kiss.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I told him that I really don't see spending half of the rest of my life in an RV, so let's get a place. And we got a place in San Antonio. So we went to San Antonio in the wintertime and came up to Eagles Nest in the summertime, and that's pretty much where we stayed. Well, then after he died, I kept going back and forth for a few years. And, oh, in between there, when we were RVing, I'll tell you, I really got really bored. And I think that was part of not wanting to stay in an RV for half of the rest of my life. So John said, well, why don't we go to work for FEMA? And he knew all about FEMA because he was in emergency management. So we both got hired for FEMA, and FEMA would call us from Texas or from Eagles Nest or wherever we might have been traveling. And so we both did that for a number of years, and I'll tell you, it's wonderful to travel all over the country at government expense. The only thing, it wasn't necessarily the best of times because it was related to a disaster. So anyway, after he died, I kept going back and forth, and I got to the point where I thought, oh, taking care of two places by myself is really too much. And besides, it was pretty expensive because I had two handymen down in San Antonio helping me out with things I couldn't do, and two handymen up here helping me out, and so it got to be pretty expensive. So last June, I sold my San Antonio house, and now I'm here, and I'm here full time, and because I really didn't get a chance to get around before, you just go to the lake and play as a kid at grandma's and grandpa's and those kinds of things. So Tuesday group was one of the ways that I thought, well, I'll get to know the area and get to know people. And I'll tell you, I'm just amazed with all the things that Ely does, like this art walk. Oh, it's amazing. So anyway, I'm finding out all kinds of amazing things about Ely in the area, getting to know new people, and I'm just really pleased with it. So here I am.
So happy when part-time Elyites become full-time Elyites. So who's next? Pam Ingram. And she's got good reasons why Larry Ingram is not here with her. Plus, not to mention they're packing because they're soon off to Europe and Africa. Oh my. I just met him.
Pam.
I have little notes, crib notes, so I can stay on track.
Yeah, this way.
All right. Well, hi everyone. I'm Pam Ingram, and I'm a mom, 3 boys, a wife, my husband Larry, a sister, and I grew up in Bloomington, Minnesota. So went to Kennedy High School. And from there, I went to the University of Minnesota and got my degree in the Carlson School of Management. I'm employed. I live the best world that I can in that respect because I get to work from here remotely, and I run the financial system for Hennepin County. So it's actually pretty cool. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but no, I cannot. But I'll take the money from them. They're quite easy. Anyhow, Larry and I, we met 14 or 15 years ago. We were married here at our lake place on Bear Island Lake about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And I don't see Susan here, but she made our cake, and it was like so fun when we were planning during COVID. How are we going to have this wedding? And I had seen her putting all these postings up about her cakes, and I'm like, she would make our cake. And we had this wonderful conversation. So it was a wonderful event with 50 of our closest family, because that's all they said we could have. And it was outside at our place. And so a little bit about me. I like to quilt. I like to craft. I like to cook. I've taken classes. I love the folk school. There isn't a crafty thing that I don't want to try and learn. And then Larry just loves the fact that I fill the house with all of these supplies. But it keeps me busy. Like I said, I was born in Bloomington. I raised my boys in Bloomington. So 3 boys, Matthew, Tyler, and Seth, 31, 29, and 24. And my youngest was in the Marines. He's a Marine vet. I'm here to say your youngest child's a vet, but he is. He served his 4 years and he was overseas, and he's back here working and going to school. So super proud of all of my boys. I volunteered. When they were growing up, I did a lot of volunteering. I haven't volunteered so much up here, and I know that now that I say that people are going to be reaching out to me. But it's been busy. Why do we love it up here? Well, I can tell you, we have a dog, little black lab. She gets to live her best life running around up here. I do have a stressful job. I do. And so I like the ability at my lunch hour to go strap on my skis and go cross country or jump in my kayak and paddle around and just clear my head and be able to go right back to it. We bought our place back in 2016 on Grand Ely Lake, and at that time, Larry was retired. He retired from Hennepin County as well. And he would come up and spend more time than I got to. But I did spend the weekends up here. And then, like with many people, when COVID hit, things changed. And we moved up here and let 2 adult children live in the house and manage it. And then, you know what? The oldest one saved enough money. He listened to his mom, and he bought his own home. And his brother went with him. And so we sold ours. And it was the perfect timing because the market was great. And it was like, who knew that would happen so easily, but frightful because I'd been there for 30 years. And so living in Bloomington all my life, and now I'm 57 years old, and here I am up here in this community, kind of out of my element. But we are lucky. We have friends that come up all the time. We have met wonderful neighbors he's the one that asked me to come. Yeah. We hosted our neighborhood party last year on the lake, and it's a great way to meet people. What I can say about Ely is my husband knew about Ely. He bought property up on Big Lake 30, 40 years ago. And so he's been coming through Ely, but never really stopping in Ely. And so when we were looking for a lake home, we found this was one of our choices, and we were like, oh, this meets everything except for the budget. So we had to raise the budget. So here we are. I can tell you, we love the people, the neighborhoods. We love meeting new people, going out and about, going to dinner and running into people that you've just met and you say hi. And honestly, that makes you feel good. It makes you want to seek it out more. And I guess to close, I don't know if anyone has any questions, but we look forward to living our best life that we can here in Ely. So thank you.
Oh. So I had 2 cancellations this morning, but there's always people in the room who are new and maybe they get brave. So I know that Steve Hornstein is brave. He'll do the way. Who knows this guy's other name besides Show Me? This is, of course, I go a shorty.
Well, I am Steve Hornstein, and like others, I'm not totally new here. I've been coming here summers for 30 years since I met my spouse. And my spouse has always felt that Ely was home. Her family owned a resort here back from the 70s to the 90s. So when we met, it was a unspoken agreement that when we retired, we'd come to Ely. And so we're here, and I can't be happier. As I said, we're not new. I moved here full time at the height of COVID. I was involved in a school program, and they kicked us out. Said, sorry, school is closed. And Debbie was already living up here, so that's when I moved up here just in the March of 2023. I'm also a UNV graduate, so I also was well prepared for the winters. First winter I spent in North Dakota, the high for the month was 10 below. So I'm well prepared for here. We have 3 kids. 2 of our sons still live here in Ely. They're in their 20s, and our daughter has 3 kids, so we have 3 grandchildren. And I spent almost all of the last 30 years teaching at St. Cloud State. I taught in the elementary education program. I was educating elementary teachers. St. Cloud State was a great benefit to me in many ways. I got to visit all kinds of places. They sent me to Africa. They sent me to Europe. They sent me to China. So those kinds of things were fun. And when I got close to coming into retirement, my spouse said to me that I had to find something to do with myself or she'd kill me. Not wanting to visit the Reaper that early, and having been a musician my whole life, I went back to school and learned to build and repair guitars. So that's one of the things I do as a hobby now, is I build and repair guitars. I've also recently started volunteering at the school, getting back into education, which I haven't been in a while. So I started reading with little kids the last couple of weeks, and we'll be doing that moving forward. And as already introduced, I do have an alter ego in a blues and Americana musician who plays around this part of the state here in Ely, Grand Rapids, Duluth area, and his name is Shagger Shorty. And I think that's all you need to hear. I don't have much else to say but that. Thank you.
Build and repair guitars as a service for other people?
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't sold a guitar yet. I've only built about 5. So as a builder, I'm a rookie. But I certainly do guitar repair. People interested, come talk to me. I have a card for you. You can get your guitars repaired or whatever you need.
I want to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, I'm gonna look around, or some other people who, the people who are looking away from me are the people I'm hoping will get.
You step back.
Let's see, waiting. No, Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
I know what we could do instead.
Well, I'm not giving up. Maybe I should give up. Oh, right. Okay, you're on.
Well, we are very grateful to Mr. Elton Brown. Mr. Elton Brown. And some of my good friends sent me an email over the weekend, or last week was it? Recently, Elton was holding out on us. It was his birthday. I'm wondering if you could join me in singing happy birthday to Mr. Elton.
Before that, yeah, I'm 80. I don't need to see it, but I need you to let me let go of this job. Okay, so I'm gonna, Brad didn't know it yet, but I'm passing the hat of organizing these things to Mr. Randy Griner. Stand up so these. So there's several people in this room, I'll turn them over to you, twist the elbow next time. All right.
Yes, Randy and Elton share that they're extremely talented Ely socialites. So we're really glad to have you on board, Randy. Thank you so much And Elton, I mean, I did not know that this was on the agenda for the day, otherwise I would have prepared like 45 minutes worth of remarks. But Elton, your impact as a community member has been profound. Yes, we need you on the camera. We are so honored. I am so honored. You have done so much good work and you contributed a lot of time to it. You were very persistent. Clap for Elton's persistence, please. Who here has personally experienced Elton Brown's persistence? You have quite a legacy that you have created, Randy. We totally believe in you, but there are big shoes to fill. Elton, I personally am extremely grateful to you because you have made this very complicated endeavor very easy for me. So I really appreciate the work that you've done.
Yeah, but
It means a lot to me.
You have baby presents?
I do have something for you. This is impromptu. I brought this for Elton's birthday, but as you know, Elton is passionate about skiing. And so there are these new custom branded ski caps that we're giving to Elton as a happy birthday gift. But I'll have to take you out to dinner as well.
Oh, wow.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week for Tuesday.
What is
Group,
next
but
week?
next week we're learning about links. Finally, we're going to be learning about links from Taylor Brennick. Maybe not how to cook them unless Mr. Elton Brown shows up. But as we leave, let us sing. I'm going to turn the mic off because I'm not a really good singer, but happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elton. Happy birthday to you.
Happy Winter Festival and Film Fest to you.
Thank you, everyone.